When you improve yourself by 1% today, you invest in a stronger tomorrow. Improving yourself 1% every day is the secret to lasting happiness and achievement. Have you ever stopped to ask yourself why progress feels so hard sometimes? What if the secret to real change isn't in giant leaps, but in tiny daily steps? Imagine if every day you became just a little better, just 1% stronger, wiser, or more disciplined. How different would your life look a month from now, a year? This idea isn't about quick fixes or dramatic transformations overnight. It's about small, steady improvements that add up over time. You don't need to be perfect or have endless time to make this work. You just need to be willing to take one small step today. What is one thing you can do right now that moves you forward? This video will guide you to see how focusing on tiny, consistent growth can change everything. Stick around and find out how you can start improving yourself 1% every single day. Now let's dive in. Number 1. Take charge of your day from the first minute. The first few minutes of your day shape everything that follows. Most people don't think about that. They wake up tired, hit the snooze button, scroll on their phones, and drift into the day without a clear thought. That's how you lose control before you've even begun. If you want to grow a little each day, if you want to get better by just 1%, it has to start with your very first moment. The first minute after you open your eyes is not just another 60 seconds. It's a decision point. It's the beginning of what you'll become that day. When you wake up, your mind is quiet. It's not full of noise yet. That's your window. That's your shot at deciding how this day will go. Will it belong to you, or will it belong to distractions? Most people don't even ask that question. They move into the day like passengers, not drivers. But if you want to live differently, if you want to lead yourself somewhere new, then you've got to grab the wheel the second your eyes open. That's not just talk. That's action. That's real life. You need to create a plan, even if it's a small one. Know what matters before the world pulls at you. Maybe you wake up and drink a glass of water. Maybe you sit quietly for 5 minutes and think about the kind of person you want to be today. Maybe you write down one goal. That's how you take charge. You don't need something fancy. You just need to act with purpose. You see, the problem isn't that people don't want to grow. The problem is they wait too long to start. They wait for motivation. They wait until they feel like it. But that's a trap. If you wait for motivation, you give your power away. The strongest people don't wait. They don't ask for permission. They make the choice to lead themselves. Right from the first minute. They decide, this day belongs to me. And when you start strong, you think better. You move faster. You get things done. That kind of start gives you something powerful: belief. You begin to trust yourself. And that trust is worth more than any amount of talent or luck. When you know that you can count on yourself to do what you said you would do, you walk into every situation with a different posture. You stand taller. You speak clearer. You act with more confidence. Taking charge of your day doesn't mean you have to be perfect. It means you have to be awake. It means you have to be honest with yourself. Most people wake up and react. They react to messages, to problems, to noise. They begin the day on defense. And once you're in that state, it's hard to get back control. But if you start with a simple action, getting up without delay, moving your body, feeding your mind, you flip the whole script. You go from reacting to leading. You can't improve your life all at once. That's not how change works. But you can get a little better each day. 1% better. And that doesn't come from big events. It comes from quiet, focused effort, especially in the moments that most people ignore. Like the moment you wake up. That moment says everything about your discipline, your hunger, your direction. If you treat it with care, your whole day starts to take a different shape. Now, some people say, I'm not a morning person. That's fine. This isn't about being a morning person. This is about being a responsible person, a driven person, a person who takes ownership. You don't need to wake up at 4 a.m. to be successful, but you do need to own your time. You need to decide what your first minute will look like. Will it be full of noise and delay, or will it be focused and intentional? The world will always try to pull you in. It'll pull you into urgency, comparison, and distraction. But in the morning, before all that noise begins, you have a clean space. That's your time. That's your shot to build strength. And strength doesn't come from talking about goals. It comes from building habits that prove you mean it. When you build a strong start, you don't just feel better. You think clearer. You speak with more conviction. You move with more direction. That's because you've already done something difficult. You've already made a decision that most people avoid, that builds something in you. Character, consistency, clarity, all from taking that first minute seriously. People ask me, how do I stay disciplined? And I tell them, start by winning your morning. If you keep losing the morning, you're going to keep losing the day. Discipline isn't something you find. It's something you build. And you build it through action. Not once in a while. Every single day. Especially when it's hard. Especially when no one is watching. You might not see the results right away. That's the truth. You might go a week or a month and wonder if it's making a difference. But over time, it shows up. It shows up in your focus, in your mood, in the way you talk to yourself. It shows up in your results. And the best part is this. It's all in your hands. You don't need more time. You don't need more money. You just need to stop giving your mornings away. So tomorrow when you wake up, ask yourself one question. Am I in charge or am I drifting? Don't just think about it. Prove it. Get up when you said you would. Keep your phone away. Do something that gets your mind and body in motion. Don't wait for the world to push you. Push yourself. Do the hard thing first. Not because it's fun, but because it's right. When you take charge of the first minute, you send a message to yourself. You're saying, I'm ready. I'm serious. I'm not waiting anymore. And that message becomes your identity. You become the kind of person who acts. The kind of person who follows through. The kind of person who grows. Start there. Start small. Start now. You don't need to change your whole life today. You just need to change one moment, one decision, 1 minute. Take control of it. And once you do, everything else begins to shift. Your energy, your focus, your mindset, your future, all of it. And it starts with you. Not someday, not later, now. Number 2, remove one excuse that holds you back today. Excuses are the quiet killers of progress. They don't shout, they whisper. They creep in when you're tired, when you're uncomfortable, when you know you should act but you don't want to face the truth. Most people have trained themselves to protect their excuses more than their potential. They shape their day around the reasons they can't, instead of finding even one reason they must. If you want to improve yourself, even by a little, even just 1%, you have to start by facing one thing head on. The excuse that has held you back longer than it should have. Maybe it's the excuse that says, I don't have time. That line has stopped more progress than failure ever has. But here's the truth. Everyone has the same 24 hours. The issue isn't the clock. The issue is the choices. It's not about having time. It's about taking control of it. The moment you remove that excuse, even for one day, you start to see what's been possible all along. You begin to notice how many chances you've skipped, not because they weren't there, but because you were busy telling yourself a story that made it easier to avoid effort. Or maybe the excuse is, I'm just not ready. That thought keeps dreams locked in the future. It keeps people sitting still while life moves forward without them. You don't need to be fully ready. You don't need the perfect plan. You need a beginning. One small beginning. And you can start that today by cutting out the excuse that's been protecting your fear. Fear will always ask for a delay. It will always tell you to wait until things are better, calmer, easier. But the wait becomes permanent. The longer you hold on to the excuse, the heavier it gets. Some people blame their past. They say, you don't know what I've been through. And maybe that's true. Maybe you've had hard breaks, unfair moments, deep struggles. But carrying the weight of that past as an excuse won't help you rise. It won't lift your mindset. It won't build your discipline. Growth doesn't require you to erase the past. It requires you to stop letting it decide who you are today. Every time you say because of what happened, You're building a wall between your future and your responsibility. Tear down one brick, just one. That's how you move forward. For others, the excuse is, I'm too tired. And yes, life can wear you down. Work, family, stress, disappointment. It can all take a toll, but tired is not a reason to quit. Tired is a reason to simplify, to refocus, to find something within yourself that can still take one step. You don't need to be at your best every day. You just need to do something meaningful, even when you're not. That's how progress becomes a habit, not a mood. Excuses are familiar. They give you something to lean on when discipline feels heavy. But they also keep you stuck. They wrap themselves around your habits, your mindset, your decisions. That's why removing just one of them completely, with no conditions, can change everything. You don't need to attack them all at once. That's too overwhelming. But today you can look at yourself honestly and ask, what excuse have I repeated enough? It could be small. Something like I don't have the right tools, or I'm too busy right now. Maybe it's a bigger one like I always mess things up. But whatever it is, it's not just words. It's a shield. And the longer you hold it, the longer you stay exactly where you are. If you want to grow, you've got to put the excuse down and pick up responsibility, even for one day, even for one task. Removing an excuse means no fallback, no second story to cover your inaction. It means facing your own resistance and doing something anyway. And when you do, when you push past the thing that used to stop you, you'll feel it, that shift, that power, that feeling that says, I made a move, and that's all it takes. One honest move, one clean break from something that used to hold you back. Some excuses are learned from others. They've been passed down, spoken over and over, until they feel like truth. People like me don't succeed. It's always been this way. This is just how life is. Those aren't facts. They're patterns. And patterns can be broken, but only if you stop accepting them. You weren't born with excuses. You picked them up somewhere. And if you pick them up, you can put them down. People often say, I'll stop making excuses once things change. But that's backward. Things don't change until you do. You don't remove the excuse after success, you remove it before. That's how success becomes possible. It's not luck. It's not chance. It's choice. The choice to stop giving yourself an exit every time things get uncomfortable. You want to be more focused? Stop saying you're just not a focused person. You want to be in shape? Stop saying you don't have time to exercise. You want to read more? Stop telling yourself you're not a reader. That language becomes your limits. Remove it. Replace it. Act without it. Start with one. That's all you need. One excuse you've used too often. One lie that's felt too real. One phrase you always fall back on when effort feels heavy. Remove it, even just for today. Don't argue with it. Don't explain it. Just cut it out of your mind, your speech, your habits. See what's left. What you'll find is the part of you that's been buried under comfort and fear and waiting. That part of you is strong, but it's quiet, and it needs room to speak. Taking one excuse out of your life creates space. Space for effort, space for clarity, space for the truth about what you're capable of. If you make this a daily habit, if you wake up and ask, what excuse will I remove today? You'll start to feel lighter, sharper, more in control. Not all at once, but steadily, consistently. That's where change lives. Excuses feel like protection, but they're just delay wrapped in emotion. They don't keep you safe. They keep you behind. Let today be the day you drop one. Not tomorrow. Not next week. Today. The power isn't in removing all of them. The power is in proving to yourself that you can remove even one. Number 3. Write down one clear goal you will chase. If there's one thing that begins to shape your future, it's the decision to write down a clear goal, not a thought, not a wish, not something you carry around in your head, floating, changing every week. A goal, written clearly, something you can see, something that stares back at you. Until you do that, you'll drift. You'll get pulled into other people's plans, other people's urgency, other people's priorities. But the moment you write down a clear goal, you take back control. You stop being aimless and start being intentional. The direction you choose becomes your responsibility. Most people don't write their goals. They keep them vague. They say things like, I want to be better, I want to make more money, or I want to be in shape. But those aren't goals. They're hopes with no target. And hope without action doesn't lead anywhere. When you take the time to put pen to paper and state what you're going after, you separate yourself from the crowd. You tell yourself, and the world you mean it. A clear goal does something powerful. It gives your day structure. It gives your time meaning. It tells you what to say yes to and what to turn down. Without a clear goal, you're busy but not productive. You do a lot, but nothing moves. You fill the day with activity, but you stay in the same place. You don't need more hustle. You need more clarity. That begins with writing down what matters most right now. This doesn't have to be a grand achievement. You don't need to plan your entire life in one sitting. You just need to choose one goal, one clear goal that you will chase with focus and urgency. That's the key. It must be specific. If your goal is vague, your results will be vague. But if your goal is written clearly, even the small steps begin to matter. For example, instead of saying, I want to be healthier, write, I will lose 10 pounds in the next 90 days. Instead of saying, I want to be more successful, write, I will earn $5,000 from my side business this quarter. These are goals with a finish line. You can measure them. You can track your progress. You can know when you've won. There's something about writing a goal down that activates a different part of your brain. It moves from imagination into something you can see. And when you see it, you believe it more. It becomes real. It becomes part of your world instead of just a dream in your mind. That shift matters more than most people realize. Because once you believe your goal is real, you start treating it with respect. You make time for it. You protect it. Another reason people avoid writing goals is fear. Fear of failure. Fear that they won't follow through. But not writing the goal won't protect you from that. It just guarantees that you'll stay stuck. Growth requires a little risk. It requires stepping up and saying, this is what I'm going after. Even if it scares you. Even if you don't have all the answers yet. That's what brave people do. They don't wait for certainty. They start with commitment. Once you write down your goal, the next step is simple. Read it every single day. Remind yourself of what you chose. Keep it in front of you. Put it somewhere visible. On your desk. In your notebook. On your phone lock screen. Look at it often. Let it sink into your thinking. Let it drive your actions. You don't need motivation when your goal is clear and present. You just need reminders. The goal should become part of how you think. Part of how you move through your day. Clarity creates energy. When you know where you're going, you walk differently. You talk differently. You use your time differently. That's what separates people who grow from people who stay the same. It's not about talent. It's not about resources. It's about knowing exactly what you want and writing it down so you can pursue it with purpose. There's also a psychological shift that happens when you move a goal from thought to writing. You go from maybe to must. You stop playing with the idea and you begin to own it. It becomes a contract with yourself. And that contract matters. You're no longer waiting for life to hand you something. You're stepping up and saying, I choose this. That choice begins to build identity. You stop seeing yourself as someone who tries, and you start seeing yourself as someone who finishes. Goals that stay in your head are slippery. They change too easily. They get pushed around by mood, by doubt, by distraction, but written goals are grounded. They're solid. They don't shift with your emotions. They stay fixed. That gives you something to return to. When your energy dips, when the day gets messy, when motivation fades, the goal you wrote becomes your anchor. When you wake up in the morning and know exactly what you're chasing, you waste less time. You say no to things that don't matter. You focus on the task that moves you forward. not just the one that keeps you busy. Your mind gets sharper. Your actions get cleaner. You stop spinning and start climbing. Even on tough days, your written goal speaks to you. It reminds you that you're building something, that you're not just surviving the day, you're creating progress. That perspective keeps you going. It keeps you disciplined when comfort calls. It keeps you grounded when distractions appear. And over time, those small choices turn into real results. Writing one goal might not seem like a big act, but it's a signal, a declaration, a line you draw between who you were yesterday and who you're becoming now. Don't underestimate it. Don't rush through it. Choose the goal that matters most. Not what looks good, not what pleases others. What drives you, what stretches you, what brings meaning to your effort. If you want to improve yourself, even by a little each day, don't keep your plans a secret from yourself. Write them, look at them, chase them, hold yourself to the path you set, even if the path is rough, even if you stumble, because clarity beats perfection, action beats delay, and written goals beat forgotten intentions every single time. Number 4, replace one lazy habit with a strong action. Progress starts when you stop defending the things that keep you stuck. Every lazy habit you hold on to has a cost. It might feel small in the moment, but over time it shapes your life. The truth is, you already know which habits are slowing you down. You know the moments when you choose comfort over commitment. You know when you waste time, when you avoid effort, when you let the day slip by without doing what you said you'd do. That's the part you have to face, because nothing changes until you trade those choices for something stronger. A lazy habit is anything that keeps you in place when you know you should be moving. It's scrolling through your phone when you said you'd read. It's hitting snooze when you promised you'd get up. It's skipping the workout, avoiding the hard conversation, putting off the task you know matters. These moments seem harmless, but they pile up. They become a pattern, and patterns turn into outcomes. If you don't break the lazy pattern, it will quietly break your progress. You don't have to change everything at once. You don't need to tackle all your bad habits in one day, but you do need to replace one of them. That's the shift. Take one lazy habit you know is hurting your growth, and swap it out for one strong action that pushes you forward. Not 2, not 5, 1. Because when you replace one, you create momentum. You prove to yourself that change is possible. Start with what shows up most often. What's the habit you do without thinking? The one that eats your time or your energy? Is it how you spend your evenings? Is it what you reach for first thing in the morning? Is it the excuse you tell yourself that gives you permission to avoid what matters? Identify it clearly. Name it, because if you can't name it, you can't change it. Once you see it, you face it. That's where power begins. Avoiding it only lets it grow, but looking at it directly gives you the strength to shift it. Then comes the next part. Choosing the new action. Not just avoiding the old one, but replacing it. That's the key. If you try to just remove a habit without filling the gap, the old one will sneak back in. Habits don't disappear. They get replaced. So pick something better. Pick something that builds you, that strengthens you, that aligns with who you want to be. If your lazy habit is sleeping late, replace it with an early walk or time to plan your day. If it's wasting time on distractions, replace it with 30 minutes of focused work. If it's mindless entertainment, replace it with a book that grows your thinking. It doesn't have to be big. It just has to be real. A strong action doesn't mean something loud. It means something consistent, something that demands your attention and calls out the better side of you. You'll feel resistance at first. That's normal. Your mind will try to pull you back into what's familiar. It will tell you the old habit is easier, more comfortable, less demanding, but that voice isn't helping you grow. That's the part of you that wants to stay where it's safe. That's the part you have to learn to talk to. Not with judgment, but with truth. Remind yourself of what's at stake. Remind yourself of the life you're building. Remind yourself that comfort never leads to change. Growth lives in the action you don't want to take. It's in that workout you don't feel like doing. That project you keep putting off. That early morning you want to avoid. The strong action is usually the one that feels harder at first. But here's the shift. You're not choosing it because it's easy. You're choosing it because it works. You're choosing it because you've had enough of wasting time. You're choosing it because you're tired of waking up to the same results. You'll start to feel different once you act. Not after a week, not after a month, right away. The moment you follow through on a strong action, instead of falling into the lazy habit, something changes inside you. You feel more honest with yourself. You trust yourself more. That's what most people are missing. They don't trust themselves because they keep breaking their own word. They say one thing and do another. But when you start showing up with action, your confidence returns. You begin to believe that what you say matters again. This isn't about being perfect. You'll still have days where the lazy habit tries to return. But the goal isn't perfection. The goal is control. You're not giving power to the old pattern anymore. You're choosing how you spend your time. You're choosing how you respond to your impulses. And every time you do that, you become stronger. Don't wait for motivation to guide you. That's unreliable. Discipline is what keeps you going. Discipline is built through repetition. The more you take strong action in place of lazy behavior, the more automatic it becomes. Your brain starts to shift. Your standards rise. You stop tolerating things that hold you back. And you start demanding more from yourself. Not out of pressure, but out of purpose. People often look for big changes. They want their lives to turn around overnight. But the real shift happens when you change one choice, one behavior, one habit. That's how transformation begins. Not with fireworks, but with a decision to do better today. You want to improve your life by 1% every day. Start here. Start by replacing just one lazy move with something that builds your future. Think of how many times a day that habit sneaks in. If you replace it each time with something intentional, something valuable, the compound effect is enormous. Not just in your results, but in your identity. You stop seeing yourself as someone who gives in easily. You start seeing yourself as someone who finishes, someone who follows through, someone who's not ruled by old habits, but led by a new standard. That's where self-respect grows. Not from what you tell others, but from what you prove to yourself. Every strong action you take, even if no one else sees it, adds to your strength. Even if it's uncomfortable, even if it's inconvenient. Because you're not doing it for applause. You're doing it for your own growth. You're doing it to take back your time, your energy, and your direction. You'll notice that your mood begins to shift too. Lazy habits drain more than just time. They drain your spirit. They leave you restless. They create guilt. But strong actions do the opposite. They restore your pride. They create clarity. They bring a sense of control back into your day. That feeling of I showed up. That's what keeps you going. And the best part is, you don't have to wait. You can do it today. You can do it right now. Identify the habit that's weakening you. Replace it with something that strengthens you. Then do it again tomorrow. And the next day. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to keep moving forward. That's what growth looks like. One action at a time. One choice at a time. One decision to stop settling for less. Number 5. Learn something new that grows your mind today. Your mind is your greatest tool, but only if you keep feeding it. Most people stop learning the moment they leave school. And that's where the slow decline begins. Life doesn't wait for you to catch up. If you're not learning, you're falling behind. And if you're not stretching your thinking, you're slowly becoming stuck in the same thoughts, the same decisions, and the same results. Growth doesn't come from age, experience, or luck. It comes from feeding your mind with something useful, something meaningful, something new. You don't need to read 100 books to grow. You don't need to sit in a classroom. What you need is the willingness to take in one new idea, one useful skill, one powerful piece of wisdom that opens your thinking just a little wider than it was yesterday. That's where strength starts, in the decision to never stop expanding what you know. You don't have to learn everything at once. You just have to learn one thing that makes you stronger today than you were yesterday. The problem is, many people waste their time on useless information. They spend hours watching content that does nothing to lift their thinking. They fill their minds with distractions, not direction. You have to be selective. You have to ask yourself, what I'm feeding my mind, does it help me grow? Does it help me think sharper, act better, understand deeper? If the answer is no, you're not learning, you're just consuming noise. Real learning challenges your thinking. It stretches you. It makes you uncomfortable for a moment so you can be stronger for a lifetime. Start by identifying one area of your life that needs improvement. Is it how you manage your time? Is it how you communicate with others? Is it how you handle stress? Or how you make decisions? Don't try to fix everything at once. Pick one area, then look for something that teaches you how to get better in that space. It could be a chapter in a good book, a trusted podcast from someone who's walked the path, a video that teaches a useful strategy, a conversation with someone who knows more than you. That's how growth happens, not just in silence, but in exposure. You can learn from people you disagree with. You can learn from failure. You can learn from watching, listening, reflecting, asking. The real question is, are you open to learning, or are you too used to being comfortable? If you're always defending what you already know, you'll never make room for what you need to learn. And if you only stay inside the limits of what you're already good at, you'll never find your next level. Your mind needs challenge. It needs new ideas to stay sharp. Without them, it grows dull, tired, passive. That's when excuses creep in. That's when you stop reaching for more. But when you push yourself to learn something useful every single day, you stay awake, you stay alert. You see more, you hear more, you understand more. You begin to notice the small things that used to slip past you. You ask better questions. You give better answers. You carry yourself differently, because you're not running on old thoughts. You're growing with fresh thinking. Learning doesn't have to take hours. In fact, one powerful idea can shape the entire direction of your life. One sentence can change how you look at the world, but you have to be looking for it. You have to be intentional. Passive learning doesn't work. You can't just hope the right knowledge will fall into your lap. You have to go after it. You have to search for it. Study it, apply it. That's how you move from knowing something to living it. Growth is a decision. It's a daily choice to become more aware, more capable, more prepared. You don't need to be the smartest person in the room, but you do need to be the one who's always learning. The one who doesn't waste time on empty opinions or meaningless distractions. The one who respects their mind enough to build it. Ask yourself what you've learned today that made you better. Not entertained, not distracted. Better. If you can't name anything, then it's time to make a shift. Maybe it's time to read for 20 minutes instead of scrolling for hours. Maybe it's time to listen to something that sharpens you while you walk, drive, or clean. Maybe it's time to write down what you've learned so your mind starts to retain and reflect, not just react. Strong minds don't come from luck. They come from habit. The habit of being curious. The habit of asking questions. The habit of pushing past surface-level answers. When you live that way, you're never stuck. Because even when you don't know something, you know how to find out. That gives you an edge. That makes you someone who moves forward while others are standing still, waiting for life to give them answers. Learning something new every day builds confidence. Not the fake kind, the quiet kind. The kind that comes from knowing you're growing. You're not who you were yesterday. You're not running from problems. You're solving them. You're not afraid of change. You're preparing for it. Because you've trained your mind to expand, not to shrink. You've trained your thinking to work for you, not against you. Don't underestimate what you can learn in a day. In a single focused hour, you can understand a concept that once seemed impossible. In a single session of study, you can build a skill that saves you time, improves your work, lifts your thinking. You just need to care enough to try. You just need to believe that learning isn't something you did in the past. It's something you live by every day. You don't need anyone's permission to start. You just need a reason to grow, a reason to be stronger, wiser, clearer. That reason is your life. That reason is your future. That reason is the person you're becoming. Because the life you want to build won't come from what you already know. It'll come from what you decide to learn next. It'll come from the way you treat your mind, not as a container to fill with junk, but as a tool to sharpen with wisdom. If you care about your future, feed your mind with strength. Don't waste time pretending you already know everything. That only keeps you stuck. Instead, stay hungry for growth. Stay open to learning. And when you do, you'll begin to see things differently. You'll begin to think differently. And once your thinking changes, everything else follows. Your choices, your actions, your habits, they all rise with your mind. That's why it matters. That's why you learn. Not for a grade, not for praise, but because the world is constantly changing. And if you want to keep up, if you want to thrive, you need to keep your mind growing every single day. One idea at a time, one insight at a time, one step forward, every day. Number 6. Speak kindly to yourself when doubt shows up. There's a moment that visits every person. A quiet moment where your mind starts to whisper things that make you hesitate. You feel it when you try to reach higher. You hear it when you're about to start something new. It's the voice of doubt. And if you don't deal with it the right way, it can stop you from growing. That's why the way you speak to yourself matters. Because the words you use on yourself, especially in private, shape the person you become in public. Most people don't realize how damaging their inner voice has become. They say things to themselves they would never say to a friend. You're not good enough. You always mess things up. You don't have what it takes. If someone else said those things to you every day, you'd probably walk away. But when it comes from within, you accept it. You believe it. And that's where the damage begins. Not on the outside, but in the way you see yourself when no one else is watching. Self-talk isn't just background noise, it's the script you live by. Every time you face a hard moment, your mind reaches for that script. And if that script is filled with blame, doubt, and criticism, you'll stay stuck. But if it's filled with encouragement, truth, and strength, you'll rise. It doesn't mean you ignore reality. It means you stop attacking yourself with every small mistake. It means you build yourself up instead of tearing yourself down. Doubt doesn't show up because you're weak. It shows up because you care. It shows up because you're trying. You're pushing into something that matters. And when you step into something meaningful, your mind gets nervous. That's natural. But it doesn't mean you give in to that voice. It means you learn to guide it. You learn to respond with strength, not fear. That strength comes from how you talk to yourself in that moment. It starts with awareness. Most people don't even notice when they're being hard on themselves. It becomes so normal they treat it like truth. But that inner criticism is not the voice of truth. It's the voice of fear. The real truth is that you've made it this far. You've pushed through pain. You've survived hard days. You've overcome things that once looked impossible. That's the voice you need to listen to. The one that reminds you what you've already done, not the one that doubts what you can do next. Speaking kindly to yourself doesn't mean you ignore your flaws. It means you talk to yourself in a way that helps you grow through them. If you fall short, don't call yourself a failure. Say, I didn't get it right, but I'm learning. If you feel nervous, don't say I'm weak. Say, I'm growing through something new. These shifts might sound small, but they carry power, because your words create the lens through which you see yourself. Kindness doesn't mean softness. It means fairness. It means giving yourself the same level of respect and compassion you'd give to someone you care about. If your friend was doubting themselves, would you tell them to give up? No. You'd remind them of their worth. You'd tell them not to quit just because it's hard. That's what you need to do for yourself. Especially when doubt tries to sneak in. You speak from a place of truth. You remind yourself of your effort, your growth, your progress. People think discipline is just about habits and routine, but real discipline starts with how you treat yourself. If your inner voice is always negative, your motivation will break. If you're constantly insulting yourself, you'll start to believe that you can't do better. But if you speak with honesty and encouragement, you create a mindset that keeps going, even when it's hard, even when it's slow, even when you feel like nothing's working yet. You don't need to be perfect to speak to yourself with respect. You just need to recognize that growth takes time. And during that time, you need support, not punishment. If every time you make a mistake, you attack yourself, how can you ever build anything strong? But if every time you fall, you tell yourself to stand back up with purpose, you begin to change how you walk through life. Think about how much time you've spent fighting your own voice. The moments where you could have taken a step forward, but your doubt held you back. The goals you delayed, the decisions you avoided. That's what happens when your inner voice turns against you. It becomes a wall. But when you change that voice, it becomes a bridge. A way to move from where you are to where you're meant to be. Your self-talk is the most consistent influence in your life. It's with you every morning, every night, every step. You can't escape it, but you can train it. You can shape it. You can decide that you won't speak to yourself like an enemy anymore. You'll speak like a leader, like someone who believes in growth, like someone who expects more but never forgets their worth in the process. There's a power in choosing your words carefully. When doubt says, "You're not ready," respond with, "I'll prepare and take the first step." When doubt says, "You don't belong here," say, "I've earned the right to try." When doubt says, "What if you fail?" answer, "Then I'll learn and keep going." These aren't just phrases. These are tools. You use them to protect your focus, your drive, your spirit. Every time you replace a harsh word with a kind one, you're building mental strength. You're telling your mind that you're not afraid to face difficulty. You're teaching yourself to stand firm. You're building a voice that helps you keep moving instead of backing down. That's how strong people think. Not by being hard on themselves, but by being solid inside. Clear, focused, and respectful toward their own journey. Don't let your doubt be the loudest voice in your life. Give more volume to the voice that knows you're capable. The one that remembers how far you've come. The one that pushes you to stay in the game when it's easier to walk away. Speak from that place, because the more you hear strength, the more you live it. Your life will reflect what your mind believes. If your self-talk is weak, your actions will be small. But if your self-talk is clear and powerful, your actions will match. That's the link. That's the key. That's why this matters. It's not about fake confidence. It's about honest support. It's about having your own back, especially when the outside world doesn't understand your path. When you speak kindly to yourself in moments of doubt, you protect your drive. You protect your purpose. You don't let a single moment of fear destroy months of effort. You slow down, breathe, and speak the words that keep you going. Not because you're trying to be positive, but because you're refusing to be defeated by your own thoughts. Every time doubt visits, you have a choice. You can feed it, or you can face it. And the way you face it starts with the words you choose. Speak like someone who's going somewhere. Speak like someone who believes their future is worth fighting for. Speak like someone who refuses to give up. Because that person, the one who speaks with strength in hard moments, that person will always rise. Number 7. Push yourself to finish what you start today. One of the biggest reasons people stay stuck in the same place year after year is because they never follow through. They start something, get excited, feel motivated, and then somewhere in the middle they stop. They quit on the process. They tell themselves they'll get back to it tomorrow. But tomorrow keeps moving further away. And the result? A trail of unfinished goals, broken promises, and a growing doubt in their ability to change anything. That's what happens when you don't finish what you start. Starting is easy. Anyone can start. Starting feels exciting. You get a burst of energy, a rush of hope. You imagine what life will look like when you reach your goal. You tell yourself, this time it will be different. And maybe it is. For a few days. But then the resistance shows up. The work gets heavier. The distractions come in. You don't feel as inspired. You start questioning your pace. You begin to slow down. That's where most people give up. They think because it's hard now, it's no longer worth it. But the truth is, that's the moment you need to keep going more than ever. The difference between people who grow and people who stay behind isn't talent. It's the decision to push through the middle. It's the refusal to quit just because it's uncomfortable. Growth isn't always exciting. Progress isn't always fast. Discipline isn't always fun. But the finish line only becomes real when you decide that you're not going to stop just because the mood has changed. That's when you take control of your life. When you push yourself to finish something, even something small, you train your mind to trust your own word. You begin to rebuild your confidence. Confidence doesn't come from talking about big dreams. It comes from completing small actions. It comes from saying, I'm going to do this, and then actually doing it. That builds self-respect. And self-respect leads to self-belief. That's what gives you the power to take on bigger challenges. If you've been stopping halfway, you're not broken. You're just out of habit. You've allowed quitting to become comfortable. But comfort doesn't change your life. Doing what's hard and finishing it anyway. That's where transformation happens. And the good news is, it doesn't have to be perfect. You don't have to finish fast. You just have to finish. Even if it's slower than you planned. Even if it's not as clean as you wanted. Completion is where growth lives. Some people think finishing something means they have to feel motivated the entire time. That's not true. Motivation fades. What matters is your ability to move even when you don't feel like it. That's where real discipline lives. Discipline is waking up and doing the work when it would be easier not to. It's staying committed to what you said you'd do long after the excitement disappears. And the more you practice that, the stronger you become. If you said you're going to read 5 pages today, do it. If you said you're going to clean that room, do it. If you said you're going to go to the gym, go. Not because those actions are massive, but because every time you complete something you start, you add a brick to the foundation of your self-worth. And the stronger that foundation gets, the more confident you feel in every area of your life. The people who finish what they start build momentum. Momentum is the invisible energy that makes the next step easier. But you can't get momentum by quitting early. You have to push through that part where you feel bored, frustrated, or tired. That's when the shift happens. That's when you move from hoping to doing, from wishing to earning. And that kind of shift changes your entire direction. Your brain remembers what you complete. It tracks your effort. It keeps score. And every time you give up halfway, you teach it that you can't be counted on. But every time you follow through, even on something small, you tell your brain, I finish things, I keep going. That message builds power over time. You don't see it right away. But one day you look back and realize you're not the same anymore. You're stronger. You're more focused. You believe in yourself a little more. Most people don't fail because they're incapable. They fail because they never finish. Their ideas are strong, their intentions are good, but they never cross the line. Don't let that be you. Don't keep starting things and abandoning them when they don't feel exciting anymore. Your life doesn't change because of what you plan. It changes because of what you finish. Finishing what you start builds identity. When you complete a task, your brain says, that's who I am. And that identity carries into every other decision you make. You start to expect more from yourself. You stop making excuses. You hold yourself to a higher standard. Not because someone else is watching, but because you're watching. And how you see yourself will always decide how far you go. Right now, there's probably something in your life that's unfinished. Something you started with good intentions but put aside. Go back and finish it. Even if it's not perfect. Even if it's not exciting anymore. Just finish it. Show yourself that your actions mean more than your moods. Remind yourself that your word means something. That's how you regain control. That's how you start building real progress. Push yourself. Not because anyone else is telling you to, but because deep down you know it's time. You've wasted enough days saying I'll do it later. You've lost enough momentum to distractions. Push through the part that feels hard. Push through the part where nobody's cheering. Push through the part where it's just you and the task. That's where the power is. When you finish what you start, you stand taller. You speak differently. You carry a new kind of strength. Because you know you can count on yourself. You know you can follow through. And that belief makes it easier to take on new challenges. It makes it easier to say yes to growth. It makes it easier to face what's next. Don't wait for perfect conditions. Don't wait until it's convenient. Just decide that today you're going to finish something. No matter how small, no matter how long it takes. Push yourself to the end. Because once you reach that finish line, you'll feel something different. You'll feel a shift, a sense of power you didn't have yesterday. And that power comes from action. Your future isn't built by what you think about. It's built by what you finish. One step at a time. One task at a time. One promise at a time. Finish it. Finish even when you're tired. Finish even when it's boring. Finish even when nobody's watching. That's where real pride comes from. That's where the wins begin. That's where the gap between the old you and the new you starts to close. Number 8. Wake up earlier and use that time for growth. The moment your eyes open in the morning can be the most important time of your entire day. When you wake up earlier, you give yourself something most people don't have: extra time. That time isn't just minutes on a clock. It's a chance to decide what kind of day you want to live. It's a moment where your mind is fresh, before the noise, before the distractions, before the demands of others start pulling you in different directions. Using this time well means you start your day ahead, with control over your focus and energy. Waking up early isn't about forcing yourself to suffer through groggy mornings. It's about creating space where growth happens. This is the quiet time to think deeply about your goals. It's the space where you can read a page in a book, practice a skill, or plan your day with clarity. When the world is still waking up, your mind can be sharp, calm, and ready to take in new ideas. This peaceful morning moment becomes your secret weapon for success. Too often, people sleep in because it feels easier. Staying in bed feels like comfort, but comfort doesn't build character. It doesn't push you forward. When you rise early, you send a message to yourself. You value your time. You value your progress. You value the person you are becoming. That simple act of choosing to get out of bed earlier is a small victory, but those small victories add up. They build habits that shape your entire life. The difference between someone who grows and someone who stays stuck is often measured by what they do in the first hour after waking. Do you scroll through your phone and lose time to distractions? Or do you use those minutes to feed your mind with something positive? Reading a book, journaling, or reviewing your goals sets your mindset right. It's like planting seeds that grow throughout your day. Those seeds of focus and intention turn into productive actions and meaningful results. There's a reason top performers in every field wake up early. They understand that early morning is the time to sharpen their minds and build momentum before the chaos begins. This isn't about waking up at 4 a.m. if that doesn't work for you. It's about finding a time earlier than usual that gives you a peaceful window to invest in yourself. Even 30 minutes more than usual can make a huge difference. Consistency matters more than extremes. Early mornings are also a gift to your creativity. Your brain isn't overloaded yet. You're not reacting to stress or distractions. You can think clearly, plan strategically, and set priorities with intention. This clarity fuels your decisions. You make better choices. You solve problems faster. You start the day with confidence instead of rushing to catch up. That sense of control carries forward, shaping every moment that follows. Sometimes waking up early feels hard because your mind resists leaving the comfort of rest. That's natural. Change often meets resistance, but you're stronger than that resistance. Each day you choose to get up a little earlier, you prove to yourself that you're in charge. You build mental toughness. You teach your body and mind a new rhythm, one that supports your growth instead of holding you back. That shift in your routine can transform how you approach everything. When you wake up early to invest in your growth, you reclaim time that's often lost to distractions later in the day. Instead of scrambling to fit in important tasks, you give yourself the gift of intentional progress. That can be learning a new skill, planning your work, exercising, or simply reflecting on what you want to improve. This extra time becomes a buffer that helps you handle challenges with more calm and focus. You don't have to do everything in the morning. Growth starts with one small step. Maybe it's reading a chapter, writing your goals, or practicing gratitude. Maybe it's stretching your body or listening to a short podcast that inspires you. Whatever it is, This consistent morning effort shapes your mindset and builds momentum that lasts all day. Over time, these small daily actions lead to big changes. Many people miss this opportunity because they don't see waking up early as a tool for growth. They see it as a sacrifice or punishment. But when you change your perspective and see early mornings as a chance to invest in yourself, it becomes exciting. It becomes a moment you look forward to, not dread. You start to crave the quiet, the focus, and the control you have over your own day. Remember, waking up early isn't just about time, it's about attitude. It's a commitment to prioritize yourself, to say yes to progress and no to distractions. You're telling yourself that your goals matter enough to earn your best effort before the world demands your attention. That's powerful. That's how habits that change your life begin. You don't have to overhaul your entire schedule at once. Start by setting your alarm just 10 minutes earlier than usual. Use that time to do one thing that grows your mind or body. When you master that, add another 5 or 10 minutes. Build this habit gradually and watch how your days start to change. You'll notice your energy feels different. Your focus sharpens. Your confidence grows because you're doing what most people won't do. As you build this habit, the rest of your day will flow more smoothly. You'll have fewer moments of panic or feeling behind. You'll feel more prepared for the unexpected. And that calm, prepared mindset helps you make better choices. It helps you avoid procrastination. It helps you stay motivated because you start the day with a win. That momentum is everything. The key to using early mornings for growth is consistency. Showing up day after day, even when it's tough, is what separates those who grow from those who don't. Even if you don't feel like it some days, even if you're tired, getting up and doing something productive resets your mindset. It reminds your brain that you're serious about change. This simple daily commitment rewires how you think about yourself and what you believe you're capable of. This habit doesn't just affect your mornings. It changes how you approach challenges. You become more disciplined. You become more resilient. You become someone who takes control instead of waiting for things to happen. That kind of mindset creates opportunities. It attracts people who respect your focus. It opens doors you didn't expect. Waking up early to invest in growth is a choice that shapes your entire future. It's one decision repeated daily that builds your strength, focus, and purpose. It's a habit that turns dreams into plans and plans into actions. When you wake up with intention, you don't just live your day, you own it. You don't just go through life, you shape it. That power starts with the moment your eyes open and the choice you make about what comes next. Number 9. Track one win no matter how small it feels. Every day offers a chance to make progress. And no win is too small to notice. Keeping track of even the tiniest success changes how you see yourself and what you believe is possible. When you acknowledge your wins, you build momentum that fuels your confidence and keeps you moving forward. It's easy to overlook little victories because they don't shout loudly or look impressive to others. But those small wins are the bricks that build a strong foundation for bigger achievements. Tracking a win means you're paying attention to your progress. It means you refuse to let your effort go unnoticed or unappreciated. This simple habit rewires your mind to focus on growth instead of frustration. You start to see that improvement isn't just about big leaps, but about consistent steps forward. Recognizing a win gives your brain a reward, making you feel good and motivating you to keep going. Sometimes the wins are as small as finishing a task you've been avoiding, choosing to say no to a distraction, or sticking to your plan when it felt tough. These moments may seem ordinary, but they carry enormous power. They prove to yourself that you have what it takes to stay committed. Every small success builds self-trust. When you trust yourself, you naturally take on bigger challenges with less hesitation. Writing down your wins also makes progress visible. When you look back at your list, you see a collection of proof that you are moving in the right direction. This visual reminder counters any doubts or negative thoughts that tell you nothing is changing. Seeing your wins stacked over days and weeks builds belief. It reminds you that growth happens through steady effort, not overnight miracles. The habit of tracking wins strengthens your focus. You begin to notice patterns in your actions and behaviors. You learn what works and what slows you down. This awareness helps you make better choices. It directs your energy toward what actually moves you closer to your goals. Instead of wandering aimlessly, you follow a path lit by your own achievements. Celebrating small wins also brings joy to the process. Too often people wait until they reach a big milestone before feeling proud. This delay steals happiness from the journey. Tracking wins allows you to enjoy progress in real time. It reminds you that success is not just a destination but a series of moments. This mindset makes your daily work more fulfilling and less like a chore. Acknowledging your wins encourages patience. Growth takes time, and it can be easy to get discouraged when results don't come fast. By tracking wins, you reinforce the idea that steady progress is valuable. You learn to appreciate the journey and keep pushing, even when it's slow. This patience prevents burnout and keeps your motivation alive through challenges. This practice also builds resilience. When you face setbacks or failures, having a record of wins provides balance. You remember that you are capable of progress despite obstacles. This memory fuels a comeback mindset. Instead of giving in to frustration, you become stronger because you recognize your ability to succeed repeatedly, no matter what. Tracking wins can be as simple as writing one line in a notebook or jotting a note on your phone. It doesn't require hours or special tools. What matters is the consistency of the habit. Taking a moment each day to note a win sharpens your awareness and boosts your sense of achievement. This small effort has an outsized impact on your personal growth. Sharing your wins with someone you trust adds another layer of power. When you talk about your progress, you invite encouragement and accountability. Others see your efforts and celebrate your success with you. This social connection reinforces your motivation and makes your journey less lonely. It reminds you that growth is a shared human experience. Tracking wins also helps you redefine success. Instead of chasing perfection or comparing yourself to others, you focus on your own path. You measure progress by your own standards. This mindset frees you from pressure and disappointment. It allows you to grow in a way that feels authentic and meaningful to you. The practice of tracking one win daily builds a habit of reflection. You pause to consider what you've accomplished and how it feels. This moment of mindfulness deepens your connection with yourself. It strengthens your emotional resilience and makes your goals more personal. Reflection turns your efforts into learning and growth. Over time, the wins you track become a story of your journey. You see how far you've come and what you've overcome. This story inspires you to keep going when the road gets tough. It reminds you that progress is possible because you have proof in your own hands. That proof is a powerful motivator to push beyond limits and keep growing. Tracking wins also trains your brain to focus on solutions and strengths instead of problems. You learn to look for what's working instead of what's wrong. This shift in perspective increases your creativity and problem-solving skills. It makes you more optimistic and proactive in pursuing your goals. Every small win is a building block of your character. Each one teaches discipline, courage, and commitment. When you track those wins, you honor the effort behind them. You reward the habits that create growth. This respect for your own process fuels deeper motivation and a stronger belief in your potential. The power of tracking one win is in its simplicity. It doesn't require drastic changes or big achievements. It asks only that you notice your progress and appreciate it. This small act builds confidence and momentum that multiply over time. It turns daily effort into lasting success. Taking the time to track wins also teaches gratitude. You become thankful for the progress you make and the strength you show. Gratitude improves your mood and mental health, which supports ongoing growth. Feeling grateful makes your journey more positive and enjoyable. The habit of recognizing wins challenges the negative voices in your head. Those voices that say you're not good enough or that you'll never succeed lose power. Tracking wins reminds you of your ability and resilience. It weakens self-doubt and builds a mindset rooted in possibility and achievement. Tracking one win every day is an act of self-respect. It means you value your effort and honor your journey. This respect motivates you to keep moving forward. It reminds you that progress is a choice you make each day. When you focus on one win daily, you create a chain of positive actions. Each link in that chain strengthens your commitment and ability to succeed. The longer the chain, the stronger your growth becomes. This daily habit becomes the foundation for reaching even your biggest goals. This simple practice also makes your goals less overwhelming. Breaking progress into daily wins helps you stay focused and motivated. It reduces stress and prevents you from feeling stuck. You move forward step by step, knowing each small victory matters. Tracking wins sharpens your focus on what you want. It trains your mind to notice progress and possibilities. This focus attracts opportunities and resources that help you grow faster. When you celebrate your wins, you send a signal to yourself and the world that you're serious about change. The habit of tracking wins creates a positive feedback loop. Each success motivates more effort, which leads to more success. This loop builds confidence and momentum that carry you through challenges. It turns growth into a natural part of your life. By tracking one win, no matter how small it feels, you build a foundation of success. This foundation supports everything you want to achieve. It reminds you daily that progress is real and that you are capable. It helps you stay motivated, disciplined, and focused on your path. Tracking wins is not about perfection or doing everything right. It's about recognizing effort and progress. It's about celebrating growth, no matter the size. This mindset creates resilience, confidence, and a drive to keep improving. It turns every day into an opportunity to build a better version of yourself. The power of this practice lies in its ability to change your story. Instead of focusing on what's missing or what's hard, you focus on what you've done. You rewrite your narrative to one of strength, progress, and possibility. That new story guides your actions and fuels your future. In the end, tracking one win every day creates a habit that transforms your life. It shifts your attention to what matters. It motivates you to keep going. It reminds you that growth is possible. And it starts with noticing your own success. This simple action becomes the foundation for a lifetime of achievement and fulfillment. Number 10. Reflect deeply on what made you stronger today. Every day you go through experiences that shape you. Some moments challenge you. Others teach you. And a few transform you in ways you don't notice at first. Taking time to reflect deeply on what made you stronger today brings clarity and purpose to your journey. It shifts your attention from just surviving to understanding your growth in a meaningful way. When you reflect on your strength, you dig beyond the surface. It's not just about what you did, but how you handled it. You ask yourself what inner qualities you used. Was it patience when things got difficult? Was it courage to face something uncomfortable? Was it persistence that kept you moving forward? These reflections connect you to your own power and help you recognize the tools you already have within you. Reflection requires honesty. It means looking at your day with an open mind without judgment. You acknowledge moments where you stood firm and notice how you responded to setbacks. This process helps you learn from your experiences. It's not about finding fault or beating yourself up. It's about growing wiser and stronger by understanding what worked and what didn't. The act of reflecting deeply awakens awareness. It makes you conscious of your progress and the subtle ways you improve. Sometimes strength shows up in small victories, holding your ground in a tough conversation, choosing discipline over distraction, or simply showing up when you felt like giving up. These moments are the building blocks of your resilience. Taking time to reflect invites calm and focus. It pulls you away from the rush of everyday life and into a quiet space where you can listen to yourself. In this stillness, you find clarity about what matters most. You begin to appreciate the effort it takes to grow and recognize your own commitment to improvement. Reflection helps you identify patterns in your behavior. You notice what situations bring out your best and which ones test you the most. This insight is a powerful tool for growth. It guides you toward habits and choices that strengthen you while showing you what to avoid or change. Knowing these patterns keeps you on the right track and prevents repeating mistakes. When you look back at what made you stronger, you also reconnect with your values. You remember why you're pushing forward and what you want to build in your life. This connection to purpose fuels your motivation and keeps your spirit alive. It reminds you that every challenge is an opportunity to live according to what you believe is important. Reflection encourages gratitude. Seeing how you grow, even in small ways, helps you appreciate your journey. You start to feel thankful for the lessons learned and the effort made. Gratitude creates a positive mindset that supports continued growth. It shifts your focus from what's missing to what you've gained. This practice also builds emotional strength. When you understand how you grow, you become more resilient in the face of future challenges. You know that strength isn't about never falling, but about rising again with greater awareness. Reflection turns difficulties into stepping stones, making you more adaptable and confident. Reflecting deeply connects your mind and emotions. You don't just think about your growth intellectually, you feel it in your heart. This connection creates deeper motivation and commitment. You become more aligned with your goals because your growth feels real and personal. The process of reflection can be simple but intentional. It might mean sitting quietly at the end of the day, writing in a journal, or talking to someone you trust about your experiences. What matters most is that you engage honestly and fully with the question, what made me stronger today? Regular reflection sharpens your ability to learn from experience quickly. Instead of moving on without insight, you pause and extract wisdom. This habit speeds up your growth and helps you avoid repeating unhelpful patterns. It turns every day into a classroom where you gain new skills and understanding. Reflection also enhances your problem-solving skills. When you analyze what gave you strength, you understand better how to handle similar situations in the future. You develop strategies based on real experience instead of guesswork. This practical wisdom makes you more effective and confident. When you reflect on your strength, you build a narrative of growth. You create a personal story that highlights your resilience and progress. This story is a powerful source of encouragement during tough times. It reminds you that you have overcome challenges before and can do it again. This habit builds self-respect. Recognizing your own strength honors the effort you put in each day. It shows that you value your journey and are committed to becoming your best self. This respect deepens your relationship with yourself and increases your self-worth. Reflection makes your goals clearer. Understanding what strengthens you reveals the path that works best for your growth. You learn which actions bring results and which drain your energy. This clarity helps you prioritize and focus on what truly matters. This process also helps balance your perspective. When life feels overwhelming, reflecting on your strength brings a sense of control. It reminds you that you are not powerless but active in your own growth. This perspective builds courage and determination. Reflection opens the door to creativity. When you think deeply about your growth, new ideas and possibilities emerge. You discover new ways to solve problems or improve yourself. This creative energy keeps your journey exciting and fresh. Taking time to reflect on what made you stronger builds mental toughness. It teaches you to face challenges without fear and to learn from every experience. This toughness is a critical ingredient for success and fulfillment. Reflection helps you recognize your support system. You see how people or experiences have contributed to your strength. This awareness increases your gratitude and connection to others. It reminds you that growth is often a shared experience. As you reflect more deeply, you develop patience. You learn that growth takes time and effort. This understanding helps you stay steady and avoid frustration when progress feels slow. Reflecting on your strength also encourages humility. You see your limits clearly but accept them without judgment. This humility opens the door to learning and improvement. It makes you approachable and open-minded. Reflection strengthens your decision-making. You become better at choosing actions that build strength and avoid those that weaken you. This skill improves your life and relationships. This practice deepens your self-awareness. You get to know yourself better, including your fears, hopes, and motivations. This knowledge empowers you to make changes that truly matter. Reflection builds a mindset of growth. You begin to see every experience as an opportunity to learn and improve. This mindset keeps you motivated and engaged in your personal development. When you focus on what made you stronger, you empower yourself. You take control of your journey and embrace responsibility for your growth. This empowerment transforms how you face life's challenges. Reflection enhances your emotional intelligence. You become more aware of your feelings and how they affect your actions. This awareness helps you respond thoughtfully instead of reacting impulsively. As you practice reflection, you notice a shift in your energy. You feel more grounded, focused, and ready to face whatever comes next. This shift supports ongoing growth and achievement. The habit of reflecting deeply on your strength encourages you to celebrate progress. It creates moments of joy and satisfaction that motivate you to keep moving forward. Reflection also promotes mindfulness. You become more present in your daily experiences, noticing details and appreciating moments of growth. This presence enriches your life and learning. Through reflection, you develop a sense of purpose. You connect your daily actions to your larger goals and values. This sense of purpose guides your decisions and fuels your motivation. Reflection strengthens your resilience by helping you see setbacks as part of the growth process. You understand that strength comes from overcoming obstacles, not avoiding them. This practice builds a foundation of confidence. Knowing what makes you strong reassures you that you can handle challenges ahead. This confidence supports bold action and persistence. Reflecting on your strength increases your self-compassion. You learn to treat yourself kindly, recognizing that growth involves effort and patience. This kindness creates a healthier relationship with yourself. Reflection also enhances your ability to inspire others. When you understand your own growth, you can share your story in a way that motivates and encourages those around you. The process of reflection is a powerful tool for transformation. It turns everyday experiences into lessons and growth opportunities. This transformation happens when you engage honestly and deeply with your own journey. Reflection keeps you connected to your progress, your goals, and your values. It creates a clear path forward, even when the road feels uncertain. Deep reflection on what makes you stronger today is a gift you give yourself. It builds wisdom, resilience, and purpose. It makes your growth intentional and meaningful.